Okay, so today's walking and talking, we're going to start here at Union Station. Union Station has been around since 1880. The trains got to Denver in 1870, and that's what really opened us up for commerce, for distribution, for taking all these raw materials and turning them into finished goods and distributing them back to the East Coast, over to Europe in the early day. And so Union Station, there's a lot of history in this old building. Sat empty for a long time, and now it's in a return to form, grand form. It's been open since 2014 in the way that you would see it today. Filled with restaurants and retail. There's a hotel up top. And so one of these days we'll go in there and check it out. But that's where we're starting today's little walk and talk. As you can see, as we round the corner, you've got some restaurants like Snooze. Snooze is a Colorado business. Breakfast is what they're known for. Brunch, very popular spot. Lots of growth ever since it opened. Let's see, maybe 15 years ago. They're projected to grow another 50% in 2 years. You also have Mercantile. Mercantile comes from an Alex Seidel. He's a James Beard Award-winning chef, came in from California. And so Mercantile is one of his restaurants, and he's got several. His first restaurant in town was actually called Fruition. So today, Fruition is the farm in which they raise their own produce, raise their own pigs, make sheep's cheese. As you can see straight ahead, you've got an ice house, an old ice house. This area down here in downtown Denver used to be what they called Warehouse Row. And so a lot of dry storage, but the ice house was also cold storage. And this was the home to Beatrice Creamery, frozen foods. The ice house also would store blocks of ice that were then put on the train cars. You pack those blocks of ice in hay and in sawdust, put them on the train cars, and they become cold car storage, because we produce a lot of beef here in Colorado. And you don't want to load that fresh beef onto a hot, humid train car and ship it to the coast. So you create cold car storage, and you ship that beef out in the cold to keep her preserved. So the ice house and all these old warehouses down here have been converted into apartments. That really happened a lot in the 90s when they created Lodo, Lower Downtown. And so the Lodo downtown area is a boundary, and is a boundary that starts on Larimer, on 20th, 15th, and here on Wynkoop. And so they created the Lodo area, turned these old warehouses into apartments to bring living back to downtown starting in the 90s. So here we're going to walk through the newest development in town. This is called McGregor Square. So this was built over the last couple of years. I've been here for 20 years, and for most of that time this was a parking lot. But if you were down here, probably came down here to the Chop House, which is right here inside this old Union Pacific Railroad building. But right here you can actually see McGregor Square was named after a Kelly McGregor. He died at a young age in 2010, and so they turned this parking lot into what they call McGregor Square. And so here you've got a little bit of everything. can get something to eat. Several restaurants. Get something to drink. You've got Tom's Watch Bar right here. Tom was the CEO of Smash Burger. If you've ever heard of Smash Burger. Here you've got a restaurant called The Original. Probably been open for about a year. And you can see, look at this courtyard that they've created here in McGregor Square. So you've got a hotel. You can live here. And look at this. Look at that big screen. So if they're playing a Rockies game across the street, well, then you could come over here, get something to eat, something to drink, watch the game right here on the big screen. You also have Milepost Zero. Food halls, the marketplaces are popular. And so we'll check out Milepost Zero on a later date. But as we continue through McGregor Square, this right here is the Rally Hotel. Place to stay. Inside, you've got the Rally store, souvenir shop for the Rockies. And on this side, you have the Tattered Cover. And so the Tattered Cover is our independent bookstore. It's actually been here in Denver for 50 years. Started in the Cherry Creek neighborhood, moved downtown, and now it's in McGregor Square. And so this opens up, puts us back in the sun. What you can see across the street is Coors Field. Coors Field was built up in the early 90s. Take an old warehousing district that had been pretty run down, dilapidated, and turn it into Coors Field. And so, while it was controversial at the time, it's really helped to redefine this neighborhood. Walking up here, this is a sports bar. It's called Jackson's. I actually worked here a long time ago during one of the baseball seasons, running food around. And so we are currently walking up 20th Street, approaching 20th and Blake. The thing about 20th, I'll let this truck by. The thing about 20th is that it was kind of a dividing line from early downtown, where you had a lot of the money, to what was a poor neighborhood, burgeoning middle class neighborhood. You crossed over 20th, you had all kinds of little pockets of people, Chinese, Japanese, Black, Mexican, Jewish, Italian, German, all kinds of different little pockets over here in this part of early Denver. Here we'll give you that nice shot of Coors Field there. We were talking about it. Coors Field was built up in the early 90s in an old warehousing district. When it opened in 95, our Colorado Rockies baseball team was born. See, before that we had a minor league team called the Denver Bears, but they went down to Louisiana, and so it made a room for the Colorado Rockies. It is called Coors Field, and Coors Brewing, which is in Golden, Colorado, a little over 13 miles from here, gave $30 million to get this project off the ground. And so Even though our Mile High Stadium has over the years changed names and changed hands. It was Invesco Field for a little bit, Sports Authority Field for a little bit. Now it's called Empower Field. This Coors Field will always be Coors Field because they gave that money in the beginning. So as long as the building stands. And so all kinds of fun facts. 1.5 million bricks used in the construction of this stadium. When you look up, if you can see the tops of the columns up there, you got a flower. That is the purple and white columbine. That is the state flower. And so, even though they built the stadium from the ground up, all new brick, they did incorporate this older building, which you see out here on the corner. And so this was called the Banker's Warehouse. And this was built in 1913. It is now the Sandlot Brewery. And that's actually what that sign says right there. And so, if you happen to like Blue Moon beer, then you'll want to know that Blue Moon was first developed here in the Sandlot. They still make fresh Blue Moon. They make all kinds of craft beers here at the Sandlot. But the only way that you can get in there is to have a ticket to the game. And so it's only open during the baseball season. And so we're going to get up here, cross over. This is 22nd that we are crossing. Head up. Now, a bunch of years ago, I used to drive a roach coach. And if you don't know what a roach coach is, it's kind of the grandfather to the food truck. And so I'd drive around in this neighborhood when my daughter was a baby, and she'd be in the car seat on the passenger side, and we'd drive around as they were building up these newer apartment buildings, as they were redeveloping this neighborhood. And so one day I pulled into a construction parking lot, and I would wait for the break and the construction guys to come get some snacks from me. I had all kinds of snacks and energy drinks. And so as those workers were coming my way, they were ignoring me, I realized. They didn't want what I was offering. And the reason for that was that the fresh taco truck had pulled up right behind me. And so, people didn't want that junk food and candy bars. They wanted some fresh tacos. And that was the start of our food truck wave, which really hit hard. And so, I got to go to work, but I pulled up out front of Lazo Empanadas. This is a family business. If you like empanadas, well, this is the best place in town. Lazo Empanadas, 4 locations. And so, get you some empanadas here at Lazo. All right, we'll talk to you later.